All right, welcome everyone to this special segment on Dear Umair called Our Wish List for You, Umair. This is our wish list for you. All right, I want to welcome BJ. BJ needs to go to bed soon, but she just wanted to check in and say hello and show some support. We got James in Ireland, and BJ's in Texas. I'm out here on Whidbey Island in the state of Washington. And I just got really inspired as we're talking about Dear Umair, the series, to create a little wish list and say, hey, here's kind of our dream for the future of Dear Umair. And it goes like this, or at least here's my contribution to it. And please jump in. BJ, welcome to jump in and say hello. Your cats are welcome to say hello if they'd like to. James, feel free to turn on your camera. And listen, it's after 4 a.m. in Ireland, and James is here staying up late talking Dear Umair. This is how much we love you, Umair, and all that you got going on, the beautiful community you're building. So part of my inspiration is that we develop a really nice kind of back and forth. Umair, you built out a brilliant article like you do every day. We talk about it here. We build on it. We stand on the shoulders of the giant who is Umair, and by extension on all the shoulders of all the giants that you stand on regularly, Umair, so to speak, quoting Sir Isaac Newton. And that we develop a really nice back and forth, and you can then watch the highlights of these recordings or better yet, participate in these recordings, right? Log in from your super cool recording studio. You'll have written the article, given us time to read it and digest it, and then we get together and talk about it right here on Dear Umair, right? And take it to the next level. And then that'll provide some, at a minimum, grist, but better still, inspiration for your next article. And think about the dialectic. See, Umair, I know you like to go to your favorite cafes, sit there and write. And that's, largely a solitary process. Of course, again, you're building off of other people's great works and your whole life experiences and all that you've studied and researched and everything. But the flip side of that is real-time conversation where you never know what people are going to say. And we build off each other. This is collective intelligence in action. Anyway, that's the general idea. With that, I'm going to pass the talking feather, and then I got more to say. And BJ, don't let us keep you up. I know it's late there in Texas, not as late as it is in Ireland, but go anyway, passing the feather.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say thank you for having me here, and also, yes, Dear Umair, please come join us. We want to hear more from you.
Beautiful. Thank you, BJ. Heck yeah. And James, jump in whenever you feel like it. Likewise for everyone. Jump in whenever you feel like it. I don't like to dominate the talking feather too much. But, another idea that I have. Oh, go ahead, James. Go ahead.
No, you go on. I don't want to interrupt you while you're in flow, but I was just saying my wish list for Umair would be, as you underlined as well, having him here would be number one, of course, and foremost. But for him to start engaging his readers in the conversation about solar radiation management. So I would like Umair to have a look into the research behind it, and also there some reason as to why these ideas are being refused by the COP26 and powers that be. So I mean, there is a story there. But it's also something that needs to be talked about publicly as well, and conversation needs to be brought up about it. So that would be my wish list for Umair, to start focusing in on these, on putting pressure on the COP26 this year, because it can't be allowed to be another COP out.
Beautiful. I love it. And this can be the beginning of a peaceful revolution to overturn the lies, the deception, the willful ignorance of real solutions to our climate crisis. And I think that precisely this kind of, pivot and focus on solutions, solutions for cooling the planet, not just stopping the warming, plateauing there. No, cooling the planet, getting back to healthy pre-industrial temperature ranges that are optimal for life flourishing, optimal for healthy climate, for healthy, Gulf streams, jet streams, et cetera, all the conditions for life. I think that if we lead this revolution, all of us, and with Umair, with you playing a key role, we can multiply your readership, dare I say exponentiate your readership on that basis alone, but then add to it this, vegan milk and Oreo back and forth between writing and reading and then conversation, real-time conversation. Wow, how delicious. Listen, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but when I read Umair's articles as soon as I get them on my phone. I just sit there and read. I read through pretty much all the comments. Lately, pretty much all the comments. And like an analogy that I won't make on recording, I'm left gasping for more. I want more. And dear Umair gives all of your readers who are like me, left gasping for more, it gives them a place to go for more. And where they can actually jump through their iPhone screen or computer screen and jump into the conversation. And imagine that with Umair himself, right? How cool would that be? You get to talk to the author, right? And so I think that could multiply your popularity and really position you where you need to be positioned, Umair, as one of the great thought leaders, researchers, intellectuals of our time, communicators, leaders of our time. Umair, this is not a time to limit yourself and just say, well, I'm just a writer, right? Please don't sign me up for anything more. Hey, let me welcome Tony in real time. Tony's good with going with the flow. Tony, welcome back. Hey, listen, we're in the middle of a recording, right? Let me know if you're cool with it with a thumbs up. If you want to pause, just do this. You know the drill. Tony's good with it. In fact, listen, on a recent, thank you, Tony. On right back at you. On a recent recording we did on Dear Umair, Tony was here, and Tony, you were on fire. Tony set the room on fire, to quote Jim Morrison. You set the place on fire. We were talking about fascism, and you just went off and provided some great resources and whatnot. So thank you for all that, Tony. Right now, we're doing a very special Dear Umair recording, so you're right on time. And we're talking, the title of this recording, of this session, is Dear Umair, Our Wish List for Umair. And we are very gently and lovingly inviting Umair to step into a larger role and join us in these sessions, which we've determined we're going to be doing twice a week at a minimum. Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I guess that'd be 2 p.m. Mountain time where you are. And Fridays, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Mountain. I don't know if those times work for you, Tony, but we'd love to have you for all those. And, we're inviting Umair to join us during these sessions, whenever it's good for you, Umair. And also Umair's audience that currently numbers at least in the tens of thousands, but we'd like to see that number multiply or even exponentiate into the millions. Why not, right? You should have easily millions of regular readers, Umair. And I think most people haven't heard about you. Once they do, and once they see that the quality of your writing and your research and your thinking, and then also the quality of these Dear Umair sessions, this is going to become super popular, right? Imagine hundreds of people show up for our Dear Umair sessions, and we have to go into breakout rooms and kind of fan out Different breakout rooms can focus on different facets of the always multifaceted topics that you bring up, right? We can fan out into breakout rooms, cover the different facets therein, and then meet back up in general session here in the main room and go and listen to syntheses. Hey, what are some of the highlights that you've uncovered or discovered or co-created in your respective breakout rooms? How cool would that be? Passing the talking feather.
Well, I would also like to say that part of my wish would is that this will not also be just viewed as a discussion on topics, but also an opportunity to come up with valid solutions and to try and get them implemented as well, because it is down to us at the end of the day. It is down to we the people at the end of the day to try and get something up and running and implemented as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And Umair and everyone, Umair, one of the things I love about the things you write about is you write about the urgency and the imperative for humanity to come together, to hold each other's hands, and together find our way forward. I know of no better way to do that than in conversation. And in terms of getting together people from around the world in conversation, I know of no better way to do that than video conferencing. We use Zoom. It's not the only platform, of course, but it works for us. And we're totally flexible as to platform. So let's walk the talk of the world coming together. We have one of our venues. We do a lot of different programs and venues and whatnot here in theconversation.cc, which is where you can find out more about this particular Zoom room, The Conversation. It's almost 24/7. And I lost my train of thought, but that's okay. One lens through which we can look at all this is oh, that's right. Oh yeah, one of our other venues that we do here is called the Press Conference, thepressconference.org. thepressconference.org. And as you can see on our recordings from our November 2020, which is when we launched the press conference, we had people from 6 continents, right? Only the penguins from Antarctica were missing from our first press conference. People from 6 different continents were here, talking with each other, presenting to each other, sharing with each other. So we're on the cusp of collective intelligence evolving rapidly to collective superintelligence. And Umair, you can play a decisive role in this by, number 1, participating, number 2, writing about it, number 3, inviting your audience to participate. And all this participation and cross collaboration and all the connections that will be made and everything else constitute a critical mass of humanity coming together, finding out how exciting all this is, finding out that we can co-create a new path forward for humanity. And with the collective intelligence that will be emergent from all this, we will run circles around the collective stupidities endemic and inherent to capitalism, neoliberalism, fascism, and other forms of viral stupidity plaguing our planet. And will provide people a ladder to climb out of the stupidity. A lot of these are actually really smart people, or potentially very smart people, who have been dumbed down by the likes of Fox News, QAnon, and myriad forms of, media. I like what that Canadian wrote. What was his? I forget his name, but the medium is the message, right? Was his big thesis from some decades back. We've got so many media that are just inherently stupid. This is an inherently intelligent medium, collective intelligence, conversation, and a network of conversations, which we've been beckoning towards. And I think we can get there. We can make the jump to light speed with your participation, Umair. So that's part of my wish list. In addition to specific solutions, as James pointed out, SRM, solar radiation management for cooling the planet in time. And there's myriad specific solutions that need to be promoted, talked about, analyzed with collective intelligence, and ultimately implemented. But in addition to specific solutions like those, there is the grand meta solution of collective intelligence. In other words, that meta solution, which then begets specific solutions. Oh, that's it. Marshall McLuhan. Thank you. Thank you. The medium is the message. Thank you, Tony. See, this is collective intelligence.
There's an interesting little fact about that that was the initial title. The medium was a message, but when it came out, the printer made a mistake. And so it was actually called The Medium is a Massage. I didn't know that until I did a little bit of research on it. But
wow,
for the time it was written, and it was just absolutely incredible, because what he was trying to do was take one's perception from print media to mass media in a print media format, so it got pretty wild towards the end of it, but it's a really interesting book.
Oh my goodness, Dan's with us. Hey, Dan, we're recording. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go with the flow. Thumbs down if you need a pause, just so you can find out what the heck we're talking about here. It's up to you, Dan, either way. But I need a thumbs up or a thumbs down, if you don't mind. I know you're generally cool with recording. Can you hear me, Dan? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay. Are you good with recording? Can we roll with it? Okay, we're doing a recording on this new medium that we've been pioneering called Dear Umair. Are you familiar with the writer Umair Haque? Umair Haque. Okay, you're on mute, Dan, and that's okay.
I've seen some of your presentations concerning that.
Okay,
so
awesome.
I have some familiarity. I don't know of the individual.
Okay, super cool. Anyway, he's one of the great contemporary writers of our time. Brilliant dude, originally from Pakistan, educated, I think, partly in Canada, the United States. He wrote for the Harvard Business Review. He's, I think, a PhD economist. I mean, just a brilliant dude, really totally dialed in. He writes about a lot of the things that you're very interested in, Dan, like tribalism, fascism, et cetera, and increasingly about climate change. And some of his recent articles are about Afghanistan. I mean, he covers lots and lots of great stuff. And so what we're doing here in this series, we've got a whole playlist that we're just in the process of publishing right now called Dear Umair. Of course, you remember Dear Abby. Well, this is the Dear Abby of Dear Umair, where we read his articles and then talk about them. So we did a recording earlier on that. Today, right now, what we're doing is a very special segment called Dear Umair, the wish list, our wish list for Umair, what we would love to see Umair covering and doing and evolving into. And part of that wish list is that after he publishes an article, that he then shows up right here to participate in a conversation about that article. I mean, what more could you ask for as a writer, to be able to talk with your readership and get real-time feedback and deeper conversation that is permitted by the medium? The medium is the message. McLuhan, I assume you know about that, Dan. The medium of just writing text comments, it's great. Don't get me wrong. And I read pretty much all of the comments that Umair's readers write in the comment section, but it's also limiting. Right? Conversation is inherently limitless. So anyway, we're inviting Umair to jump in with us. And also we talk a lot about SRM here, solar radiation management. James, who you'll hopefully remember. I don't know how much you overlapped with James over the last year and a half or so, but James is in Cork, Ireland. It's it's 4:30 in the morning there, and he's still going strong. But anyway,
I remember Dan since last year from the beginning. Yeah. All right,
awesome.
Dan, how are you going?
Good, good. I definitely recognize your voice. Good.
Good to see you back. Good to see you back.
Awesome. And this is part of the wish list for Dear Umair is that we expand this community. We ultimately need all of humanity together, not just a few of us who dare to play out on the skinny branches of conversation and the world's problems and the world's solutions. We need all of humanity together. We have the technology. And so that's my big wish for the Dear Umair wish list, is that this become a catalyst for humanity coming together and forming a thriving network of conversations spanning all of these topics that matter: cultural transformation, eradicating fascism and totalitarianism. We can do this. We can totally do this. People are isolated. They're plugged into Fox News and the New York Times and other outlets of collective stupidity and mind numbingness, right? Once they get a taste of this honey, there's no going back, right? Collective intelligence is where it's at. Dan was one of the first people to participate with me and this community here, going back to like 2017, when
actually, Jamin, I think it was probably 2016, but around then 2016, 2017, yeah, all the way back.
That's right, all the way back. And we started hanging with Guy McPherson and doing recordings with him and about his work and about all kinds of stuff that we're digging up. In fact, we were so frustrated at that time that so few people were engaging in the reality of exponential climate change and the potential for solutions. Nobody was engaging. We've had the ability to solve this in humanity's hands for decades, but so few people were even willing to have the conversation that, out of frustration, I named one of our earlier venues. This was literally the title: The Social Club at the End of the World. And Dan jumped in, and Doctress Newtopia, and all kinds of cool folks. And we just jammed like crazy, and it was awesome. And we would get together every Tuesday for several hours. We'd often go for like 6, 7, 8 hours, even longer, and really had a blast.
Jamin, if I could just add just a little bit on to what you're saying about those days. And of course, what I think we all understood was that the average person, intelligent, it didn't matter. The average person wasn't able to actually assimilate the idea of exponential climate change and potential extinction of humanity. Guy McPherson, as you remember in the beginning, he was saying 2030 plus or minus 9 years. And then sometime later, he kind of got to the 2026. That's when he can't imagine a person being alive. But what I think was really fair to say is that, of course, your focus was always on, we need to come up with solutions, right? Solutions. And Guy McPherson, even though I've noted that he is kind of lukewarm, maybe this final solar radiation management scheme could work, but he's basically still pretty stoic, get prepared for what's coming. But again, humanity hasn't been able to take in things that do not either correspond to normalcy or some sort of hopeful, miraculous outcome. And even though we're at a much different place today, where remember the last thing I'll say, and we always used to say, well, what would it be like? What would it be like when we start getting near, just for sake of conversation, 2026, when Guy McPherson can't imagine a person being alive? How would that come about? And of course, the only way it could ever come about is through a very, very rapid descent into some kind of dystopia for the globe. And right now we are probably in it. And just one final thing, and then I will definitely shut up and let this thing go. No, okay, all right, you remember.
You're fine. Let her rip, Dan. Let her rip.
I like to talk as much as you. So what I did want to kind of bring up here, and again, it's a topic which a lot of people do not want to integrate into their consciousness. It's basically this. Right now, I think that the people, we use the word elite a lot, but I'm talking essentially about people like Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab of the Davos Group over in Europe. Some people at the higher level